I wanted to share a little something this morning during my quiet time. I just had the sweetest moment, and I've read these words so many times, but sometimes, when you read scripture and it just hits you um, in a way that maybe it hasn't before, and you automatically know exactly what God's saying to you. And I had that moment this morning when I was reading from Exodus chapter 20, and where it says in verses starting in verse 24, it says, "The altars you make for me must be simple altars of earth. Offer on such altars your sacrifices to me, your burnt offerings and peace offerings, your sheep, your goats, your cattle. Build altars in the places where I remind you who I am." And that was the part that jumped out to me. "And I will come and bless you there." And then this part as well, in verse 25, it says, "If you build altars from stone, use only uncut stones. Do not chip or shape the stones with a tool, for that would make them unfit for holy use." And as I read that, I thought about how often we try and mold ourselves or shape ourselves into something that we think is more palatable for men or even more palatable for God, instead of just presenting ourselves to Him, trusting that we are the stone, the uncut stone that fits in Him, and present ourselves to Him there and let Him bless us. And whenever this part where it says that, where it talked about building altars in places where I remind you who I am. Well, recently, as soon as I read that, this is what I thought about. I just came out with a book and a Bible study, The Beloved Bride. And it's been kind of this journey when the Lord started calling me to write and teach the Bible many years ago. And at the time, I didn't know I was a writer. I didn't know what my gift was to give to the Lord, but I knew that He had given me this really, really true hunger and thirst for His Word. And it was like other people would read the Bible and go to Bible studies, but I could not stop reading the Bible. And I thought, what in the world is He doing with me? I have a crazy background. If you've watched, I have it share my testimony on another video if you wanted to find out more about that not because of the background, but because of how God has redeemed me from that. But anyway, it's just been kind of funny to watch how He moves. But that hit me when He says, build altars in the places where I remind you who I am. And I think the reason I love His Word so much, and I'm just called to write these things, it's not that I feel like I have something to present to the world necessarily, because I am not a theologian. I am just a regular woman who loves Jesus and loves writing's kind of a way that I worship Him. And so those are really, everything I do and everything I write is from Him and for Him, but the overflow may bless others, and that's what I pray it does. And so when I definitely thought about this study as I was reading these words today, and I just wanted to make the video just as a way to just share the beauty of what He's done. I wanted to just share also about this call to write, because I know so many people since I've been on this journey do feel like they have a call to write or speak or do something in ministry related, and they're so unsure what that looks like and how to go forward. And there was when I started walking down this trail, it got very confusing, because there's a lot of advice there about what to do and who it's for, and you're knowing your audience and a platform and all that stuff. But what it all boiled down to for me, I never had peace about building a platform or trying to get people to notice me or look at me. And even with the books or Bible studies I write, I've never really advertised. I've just said, here you are, God, here it is. I was obedient, and you do with it what you want. The time I wrote my first Bible study that's actually published is called Becoming You. EWE. It's over Psalm 23, and just my journey of when I was really sick and had so many questions for God, and he was trying to show me how to let him be the shepherd instead of me being the shepherd. So that's what that one is about. But it was funny because I was so confused over, okay, this study's going to come out into the world. How do I get it out there? And this is when the Lord began showing me that it's really not about who it's for, because he is the Lord and he can make sure whoever it's for gets to find it. At the time when that study came out, I was actually in the hospital and just fighting for my life. And I didn't have any ability or even wherewithal to do anything with that study, but it did come out. It was birthed despite me and despite my weakness, and he's used it. He hasn't used it for thousands and thousands to read it, and I don't know if he ever will, but he has used it to glorify himself, and that's all that matters. The same with this one. I pray that if you are led to read this, or to read the book or the Bible study. I know it has blessed many women. I've led lots of women through this in a group setting, and it's always, out of all the studies and the work I've done, it's been my favorite because it's so precious. It's a walk through an ancient Hebrew wedding, and it gives the steps of an ancient Hebrew wedding, and it shows how Jesus, scripturally, from Genesis to Revelation, has fulfilled those steps and is still fulfilling them. And the reason this particularly blessed my heart so much is because it shows how so many things that happened in the ancient Hebrew wedding really bless us. And it takes how he takes full ownership of us. Just like when a husband marries a wife, now we know what that's like. Like, we actually come under his covering, we take his name, we become one with his family, and we leave our old identity behind and enter into this new identity that's not just about me anymore. It's the two becoming one that's greater than whoever we were apart from each other. And that's exactly what happens that's what Jesus did with us. The only difference is that in the Hebrew wedding, and this blesses my heart so much, the groom, whenever we're at a wedding and we say, we make these promises to each other and say, I do, I do, I do, and we put the ring on their finger. Well, in the Hebrew wedding, the groom is the only one who promises. He makes promises to her, and her only role in that is to receive those promises, because his I do over her is he's promising to take full responsibility for her, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, in every single way. And her role is to let him. And when I think about my journey with Jesus, that's exactly what it is. He took full responsibility for me, and my job is to believe him and to let him. And I love that, because there's times I get confused in my walk with him, and there's times where I don't know what to do, and it always comes back to that. Do you trust me, Rhonda? Do you really believe I made you one with me? And even when it comes to this, like to the writing and the publishing and all of that, like, I'm not doing this because I think I am somebody. I'm doing this because I'm connected to the one who is everything and who I'm one with, and out of overflow and out of obedience to him, I do this. And it's for him. It's ultimately all about him. And if someone else wants to enter into that, then I pray that they do. But I don't require or expect people to do that, because it has nothing to do with the flesh. It's about a journey that he and I are taking together, and that just about knowing him as the bridegroom, and that he has taken full ownership of me, and everything involving me, including what I do to honor him, is all about him. And the same with you, beloved, that who you are in him is all about him, and you get to choose to believe it. And this morning it was so precious, because I was just talking to him about marriage and about this, what I'm sharing with you now. And I thought about my own marriage and how hard it is sometimes. And I know especially this last year, we have the kids. We're about to be empty nesters. And there's something that happens when your kids start growing up. And I mean, for years and years, I've been so busy with them, raising them, and he's been so busy supporting us and working, and all of a sudden our kids are almost gone, and life is starting to slow down, and my body is starting to recover, and there's been so many things happen, and life has just been going so fast, and all of a sudden we're looking at each other and realizing, whoa, we don't hardly even know each other anymore. And it's been a struggle, and just realizing we have to start investing back into this and start doing life again. And I was just thinking about Jesus, and sometimes I just ask him questions when I'm praying to him. And this morning I was doing that, and I said, Lord, this marriage stuff is hard. Was there ever a time when you were thinking, what did I get myself into? And I immediately thought about this in my heart. I just felt my heart reminded me about when he was in the garden, and he was entering that temptation. And it says that he withdrew from them about a stone's throw and knelt down and prayed, saying, Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. And there was this moment in his heart when he realized what it's going to cost to stay married to us. And he said, if you're willing, remove this from me. But not my will, but yours be done. And I don't know about you, but there's been times in my own marriage where I've said, I don't think I have what it takes to do this. Remove this cup from me, but not my will, but yours be done. But here's the clicker. Here's where the rubber meets the road, is that when in my heart, as soon as I thought about these and read these words, in my heart, I felt like the Lord was saying I was stuck because I was already too in love with you by that point to not follow through with my marriage to you. And so precious, because it's love. It's that vulnerability to love that keeps us in this hard place, where even when we feel like we want to throw in the towel, where we want to give up, but yet we can't, because love holds us there. And I don't know about you, but that blesses my heart to know that love holds us there. Love held him there, and that same love that held him there on that cross for us is the same love that holds us in our marriages, in our families, in our relationships with one another. It even held to his side, and that love will never let go. And I love you, and I pray that this blesses you in some way. And I pray also for those of us, or those of you like me, who have been called to do something that's really uncomfortable, really hard for God, and maybe you're not sure how to go about this. Just remember, you're doing it first unto the one who loved you all the way to the end. And if he can be trusted to love you that much, he can surely be trusted to get whatever he's called you to do out to those he loves. I love you, and I pray this blesses you. God bless you.